All right. It's very interesting, Lisa, and I'll start with you. And that is my understanding of what goes on in Washington is that the general doesn't meet with anyone, assuming he's going to meet anyone at all, without Rosenstein or Rosenstein's staff. And now I got it straight from the horse's mouth that when asked a serious question, the Attorney General defers to Rosenstein and his staff for answers.
Well, and I'm sure part of that is because he recused himself from the Russia investigation, so perhaps he doesn't want the appearance of impropriety. But the problem
here...
Well,
then why was... Okay.
Well, but the problem here is we need to get to the bottom of a ton of questions about the DOJ and the FBI's handling of both the Hillary Clinton investigation and the Russia investigation. I don't think we can trust either the FBI or the DOJ to conduct that investigation themselves. Now, I am curious about seeing what is going to come out in this Inspector General report by Michael Horitz. He was the one that unearthed the text message exchange between Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, and he does have a solid history of going after government agencies, like we saw with Fast and Furious and the ATF, which led to shakeup in leadership there, also going after the DEA and the Columbia prostitution scandal that they were involved with as well. So, and I think depending on what he comes up with, that could be the impetus for maybe another special counsel investigation or further action there. So I'm very curious to see what he comes out with.
Yeah, well, I'm not holding my breath. Tammy?
Well, look, I think that in some ways, I think, like many Americans, we see scandal after scandal. Finally, the curtain is being drawn back. And it wouldn't surprise me if even someone like Jeff Sessions is shocked by the nature of what we're seeing unfold. This is at the very top of the FBI. Wherever you look at whomever you look, it's not only a level of corruption and collusion, if you will, but blatant and sloppy and open. And we have to ask, one, this wasn't new. How long has this been going on? But then you have to ask, how far through the government does it go? And I think that we've got to make sure, and we must push, because the going to be, this is either too big or I don't believe it because it's too shocking. But the fact is, this is our chance to clean up this government.
Tammy, this guy was a prosecutor, a United States attorney. You are looking and reading the same things that we're all reading. But you want to tell me the guy's in shock, ergo he's not doing anything?
His body was the Senate, and he moved through for an innumerable length of time. And we can't dismiss the impact of living in that bubble.
So we lost his prosecutorial balls?
I'm a big fan of Jeff Sessions, but I think we're seeing that, in fact, maybe he thought this would be a bit more bureaucratic than it really has ended up being. Thank goodness for the president that he's got an eye on this. He's publicly making sure individuals know how serious this is. But even with them trying to keep the tamp down, like with the McCabe situation, if you look to the left, you look to the right, you wake up in the morning, there's some new scandal in front of you because it's finally all coming out, and they can't keep it in the bottom.
All right, Lisa. I mean, how do you take that? I mean, you know, that it's so shocking that the Attorney General can't deal with it. And I'm going to even add something to that. James Rabicki, who was Comey's chief of staff, says we found a lot of new emails. We did find new stuff, but nothing that's going to change our view of the original conclusion in July. That's the upshot. I mean, I read that and I say, take him out in cuffs.
Well, you know, I think that agencies don't want scrutiny, right? So there could be an element of that. If even Jeff Sessions not wanting the DOJ as a department to face scrutiny. But the problem is, I think Americans have lost so much trust in institutions, and rightfully so. When you see some of these text messages that have come out from FBI agents like Peter Strzok, that was one of the lead investigators with Hillary Clinton, also involved with the Russia investigation as well. And so I think that to get more trust, to get Americans once again trust American institutions, that we need to find some answers here about what went on, and from a trusted source
I just have to say that we can't dismiss the fact that, because this is all so new, the fact that we are getting information that normally the American people would never have seen. And it's about also managing that. Jeff Sessions clearly is not managing it well. But for the American people and what's moving forward here, we have the courage to be able to look at it and to deal with it. And the president is going to have to act. Clearly, Jeff Sessions, I mean, look, he wants to be the Attorney General. It's a great job, but maybe this is different than what he expected it to be. Ultimately, every American, regardless of what your party is, you've got to care about this, because this is about the collapse, if you will, of our law enforcement agencies being used more as a bureaucratic political cudgel than really doing their job in general.
Lisa, one of the things that you said was that, that he doesn't want the integrity of the Department of Justice, that being Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General, to be attacked. But that's his job. Plus, he was never there at the time that it was so corrupt. So if he really believes in truth, justice, and the American way, could go and clean it up and be the hero. But he's not.
Well, no, I do. I absolutely think Americans need answer here, because even Andrew McCabe,
so how are we going to get the answers?
This, well, that is why maybe I'm just hopeful, Judge.
Of what?
I want just of some sort of element of truth and answers here, and I'm hoping that with the Inspector General report, perhaps it blows the doors open on some of these questions that Americans have. Because even look at someone like Andrew McCabe, he was not forthright to Congress about the fact that he knew who financed the dossier.
You know what's amazing?
He was not honest with Congress.
Andrew McCabe wasn't forthcoming. Christopher Wray knew what was going on, and until he took a walk to the White House, he wasn't going to fire McCabe.
Now, Sessions sets up probes and inspector generals. He a special prosecutor in March of last year. He said he was open to the idea. He never did it. The fact is that we got to support everybody who's asking for the special prosecutor, all of the members of the House of Representatives who are, because that is the only way that we can actually have a prosecutorial
Do we have a hotline? Do we have an email? Do we have a hashtag? How do viewers say, I want this to happen? I'm sick of hearing about this garbage.
Call your member of Congress to put pressure.
The phone still works. The phone still works. Email.